I use like Zoom. It seems to be pretty good for interviews as well.
It can be great, but I'm more, what's the word? Readily able to.
Boomer.
I am not a boomer. I cannot believe you even just used that with me.
Just a joke. It's just a joke.
You gotta stop it with the age joke, so I'm gonna have to whoop your ass.
Yeah, you can use the age jokes for younger people, no?
If I have to, but
yeah,
it's ageism. I'm gonna do that.
I don't mind.
All right. Say we're recording for you guys?
Yep.
All right. Okay. Welcome again to Anything Goes Hokkaido video and audio podcast. We are excited to have a guest with us today. I want to say in the studio, but of course we are still social distancing, so we're in our individual spaces. I'm Delana, and my co-host.
Yeah. Nice to meet you guys, or nice to see you guys again.
Nice to meet you for the 100th and 50th time.
Yep.
And today our special guest is Alan Demsky. Have I said that correctly?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you. We have chatted briefly since you actually hit us up on our page telling us that you've got some exciting projects going on. And I'm like, yeah, fellow musician, let's get on it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's just, I'm always just looking around and excited to see new projects, even like just a podcast like yourself getting out there, and especially in Japan, just like motivating more people to do what they want, you know, whether it's a podcast or music. So I think it's fantastic.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not sure if we motivated this or not, but there is another new podcast here in Hokkaido in English that is all about the connection with Hokkaido and Hawaii.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you haven't heard of it yet?
No.
Yeah, we'll have to hook up with those guys sometime soon.
I'm the boomer here.
Aloha, nirashaimase. Welcome to Sapporo Dosanko Live. This is Chad and Jamie hanging in Sapporo, Japan. Thanks for joining us. If you're back and like what you heard, please support us and hit that subscribe button. Mahalo.
Let's do this, man. Let's do it.
All right. So we're recording, and
yeah, and one of the guys who's running that, Jamie, is also a bass player, and I believe you yourself are a bass player. Is that right, Alan?
Yes, I am.
I was admiring your 5-string in the videos and pictures on your site.
Ah, thank you. Yeah. Which one is it?
It had a T on the neck, I think, but I wasn't sure the brand.
I tell people that it's custom made and it's for Demsky, my last name.
Nice.
It's not. I'm letting it out. It out.
All right, Alan. So I've got tons of questions running around in my head, but how did you end up in Japan, and where do you hail from?
Sure. So I'm from Toronto, Canada. Very comfortable city. I love it very much. But felt I had to kind of break that like comfort zone and kind of like go overseas. And originally I was thinking about going to Spain, like spending a long time in Spain and just learning the culture, and then had some extra money, came to Japan for about a month and a half, spent a week of it in Hokkaido.
All right.
Years back. And in the closest Sapporo, it's I might be saying it wrong, like Ebetsu.
Yeah.
Good.
Right. So, anyways, yeah, like really liked it just because it was just so different from like home, and that's really it. And then I'm like, studying Japanese is fun. I kind of just enjoyed it, and I'm like, all right, let's just go there and see what I could create from scratch. And in Toronto, I was a teacher. I was teaching mathematics and chess classes.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm like, I can improve my teaching here, which is great. And I wanted to see, obviously, musically, what I could create and how I could get involved in the music scene here. So before I left, I literally went on SoundCloud and contacted all these musicians in like really bad Japanese, not too far from my skill now, but like I was just like, hajime mashite, watashi wa Alan desu, like, watashi no bass player, like all these basic classic phrases, and a couple of them hit me up, and was fortunate enough to play with them, and done really well. Like, yeah, played with some good local Japanese Tokyo musicians, got to play all over Japan, and been even fortunate enough to have gone to Europe a couple times, and yeah, and that's it. And then, you know, like 9 years or close to 10 years later, I'm like still here.
Nice.
Amazing.
That's incredible. So what made you decide to stay?
I think it's just, you know, originally I was supposed to stay for only 2 years, but I think when you move somewhere, it's very hard to pack everything up and then leave. Like, you've created such great things, like whether it's career, just like whether it's the community you're a part of, and then you have to go back or go to another location and start from scratch
again. Yep.
So, you know, for me to go back, which, you know, I would consider it, you know, because I've never had a falling out with Toronto, but I would have to figure out how I could, you know, not start from scratch, like how to make it smoother in a sense.
For sure. I think that's the classic story. It's like, oh yeah, come to Japan for 1 or 2 years. That was my gig as well. 19 years later, still here.
Yeah.
I am the senpai in this situation. Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Alan, you've got some pretty cool projects going on. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so pretty much I have this music, I've been creating this kind of ambient breakbeat kind of music for 10 years, but I dropped all my acts, all these artists I've been playing with, and decided just let's see if I can do it on my own. And in the last year I've been playing live and just doing a Demsky kind of solo thing, and it's been a lot of fun, like experimenting, playing a lot of different venues, and as well bringing on like a lot of my good friends here. Like, I have a good friend, Eva, that does taiko drums, and I had her perform, and I'm kind of like, I spent this first year kind of testing myself and my sound, and now I'm at the point where, yeah, I'm finding a groove. You know?
Awesome.
That's nice. Yeah. How's your situation? How's your situation
Exactly.
going? Yeah, with Corona. Has it put you on hold, or do you have time now sort of to get in the groove and make your own music in a way?
I think it's been more motivating than ever. Yeah, so like I got a new track coming in mid-August, and it's pretty much about like that hard work towards that passion. So it's called cold coffee because you're working so hard on something you love that you forget about your coffee. Cold.
Totally.
And it's
totally.
So there's that. I also studied like a lot of digital marketing, so I'm kind of looking to see how I can market this differently, and look at myself like on Spotify, how I can grow myself on Spotify. So I'm kind of geeking out on like ads and all that kind of stuff, and doing research for a possible tour in the future whenever that happens, right?
That's awesome. Yeah, previous guest of ours, David Sweetlow, is also really into those algorithms and advertising for Spotify and how to rank up, etc. So
And he's one of the ones that went to Spain.
Yes, he did. For
Yeah.
like 30 years. Yeah, so definitely. I'm also getting ready to release a new song myself, and
Oh, right on.
diving headfirst into all of those things. But I really want to release a music video along with the song.
Of
So
course.
that's kind of where I'm at currently. In
But
a
do you
holding pattern.
guys think the market is with these digital platforms like iTunes and Spotify?
It's
It's a big part of the picture.
Yeah, like it's interesting. It's this new platform in some ways of promoting yourself, and I don't know what to think of it personally, right? Because like in some ways I'm such a grassroots kind of person, like go out, meet people, give them a sticker, something like that.
Yeah.
But this way it's like you got these really interesting programs that are able to reach larger audiences, and then you get to see who those people are. And then let's say it's Amsterdam, like people in Amsterdam connect with your music. That's good insights to see, like, oh, maybe I'm just gonna research about the music scene there and see what happens. And it's quite good, and I think for people that do it here and that focus on Japan, I think they're at quite a big advantage in some ways, because I'm not sure a lot of independent artists think that way here.
No, I think a lot of artists here in Japan are quite old-fashioned with still making those CDs, and I don't think I know many Japanese people who use Spotify as their main source of music and things like that. So I do think the marketing is a little bit different in Japan, but of course it depends on what your market is, in a way. Of course, if you're doing
Totally.
English music, maybe the Japanese market is not your thing. So
Definitely.
I'm not sure though.
There's still a big place for CDs in Japan, especially. I got some figures from a lady in Tokyo who's really into the whole music scene and brings big artists over. And there was a forum, and she's like, no, I mean, a huge percentage, like a vast majority of music sales are still CD in Japan. So there's a place for it, especially if you're playing live. I mean, people want to have that thing to take home that reminds them of the moment that they felt that particular way during your show, whether they actually ever listened to it or not.
For me, it's T-shirts. I usually buy it, like when I go to a live. If they sell some merch or something like that, I usually buy that, but not CDs. No.
Yeah, if you have a place for merch. If you have live shows, there's a place for merch. Go ahead.
I'm actually thinking socks is the way I want to go.
Oh, have you found a sock maker?
No. It's just an idea right now, but I think eventually
you can get those Japanese toe socks.
Well, out of all the things, I'm like, everyone loves a nice, funky pair of socks.
They do. I have friends that collect them from all over the world, so I think you've got a nice niche market, and I'm probably going to steal that idea.
Yeah, you should. You should. Yeah, I'm all about sharing. I'm not going to accept.
No, I remember there was a time when instead of CDs, like having clip drives with your music already on it for sale and like branded was kind of popular. I don't really know if that's still going to be a thing or not. But definitely like Spotify and all of the streaming music players, that's where a lot of people are listening. And I put like a couple of singles out years and years ago on iTunes through CD Baby.
Yeah.
And so I was pleasantly surprised when I figured out how to pronounce it correctly, because the title is Korekara in Japanese.
Yeah.
But I have Alexa set to English at home. And so I had to use the other song on the mini CD track. Like, Alexa, play this song by this group. And then she's like, playing Korekara.
Oh, yeah, that's always the best.
It's like, I can't even mimic that. But like, you can hear a couple, like 3 songs of mine from a decade ago on there now that I never like said, yeah, I put it up there. It's just part of the programming.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's available.
Yeah, it's the same with some of my old band in Canada. I can find my music on like Google and iTunes as well. And I'm like, how did this get here? You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, for example,
excited.
I'm one of the ones who use Spotify a lot. I think last year I spent 800 hours or something listening to music on Spotify.
Yeah.
So
I thought you were about to say $800. I'm like, what?
No, it's just what is it, subscription? What is it, like $9 subscription or whatever for a month? But I use it at least every day or every second day, so it's very, very good.
Good value.
So Alan, where do you play live in Tokyo?
So actually, I'm playing this Thursday. I'm doing a streaming event. So recently I've been playing at Shimo Kitazawa, that area.
Yep.
I've been playing this place called Ochiai Soup, and it's a very, very underground place. It's literally it's really funny location. It's like below a laundromat.
Wow.
It's kind of like a dirtier kind of place, but the sound is absolutely incredible. And recently I've been just trying to help out, like Ochiai Soup, Shimo Kitazawa, Basement Bar, and 3. Just try to get them revenue and make sure they stay alive, because, I don't want to lose them. I really don't. So we've been, me and my friends have been doing all these like kind of YouTube streams, raising money for them. And we raised about 45,000 yen for Ochiai Soup. And
nice.
Yeah, and like we had a bunch of like great camera people, and they just helped out. And we just bought them a lot of beer. And like, it was a win-win. We got like good footage, and we're helping a good cause. So yeah, a lot of the Shimo Kitazawa area places, and hopefully more. I know some people that work for venues here as well. So
yeah, that's excellent. You're able to do some streaming events like that. We were talking about trying to do it much earlier in the Corona situation, when it still didn't seem safe to even have a group of musicians in the same place.
Yeah.
So I had to pass on that, but I'm hoping to also start doing some support for local businesses as well, if the numbers stay low.
It could be a cool collaboration for you guys, like to do a show with a bunch of artists, and then you guys are in between doing the podcast or something, like as this cool intermission.
Hosting, and then...
Yeah, it could be kind of an interesting setup, right?
That actually sounds like a lot of fun. I'm already brainstorming a place, and I like the idea. Hold on, guys, I'll be right back. Let me play a song.
Yeah, that's what this time is about. This time's about creating and motivating and just thinking of those random ideas, and that's it. Making your coffee go cold. There you go.
Love it. So you are releasing your new track when?
This will be August 18th. And
is that going to be streaming only, or what ways can people listen to your new song?
It's going to be just streaming. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put it on Bandcamp as some form of fundraiser for something.
Okay.
Like, I don't make any, musicians don't make a lot of money. If I can cover I'm fortunate enough, like, where if I can get like flights or take, transportation covered, I'm happy, right? But if I can put it towards like something, I think that's good. And I think we need more giving than just taking, like, especially with the crazy news going on, sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, there's definitely something to be said for being able to just share freely. It's difficult though. Like, I find myself having so many different sources of revenue, feeling really fortunate that I'm able to continue teaching and doing a lot of other things besides music and the live shows. But I have a lot of people that, until this, relied on me to produce shows and pay them, and they're in a bit more of a predicament, not having as many options to them. So yeah, I think it would be really exciting to find creative, safe ways to allow performers to continue doing what they love, and the ones that's all they do, maybe put the funding that direction.
Totally.
Yeah, you've got my brain going crazy right now with that podcast / live show kind of thing. I'm really like, ooh, I want to do that.
Eventually, I'll look to release probably this as a vinyl. So that's the one thing, like, back home, in Canada, US as well, vinyl sales are much higher than CD sales. So
yeah, vinyl has kind of made a huge comeback.
Oh.
Yeah, people
Interesting.
like the, there's something in that analog feel of just putting the needle on and you're kind of really a part of that music in some
Yeah.
ways. So, if I could, pretty much it's like vinyl and socks. That's where my future.
That sounds like a brand or something.
Going back to
Vinyl
the
and
retro
socks.
style, it sounds
That's
like.
that's a great brand name. Vinyl and socks. Vinyl socks or something.
I like it.
And then more of like even pop art or something, and
Yeah, totally.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Alan, what song would you recommend to our viewers or listeners to get into your music?
Get in.
Yeah.
The last track I did was called Community. And I think that's a really good representation of where I'm heading with my music.
It's a pretty chill vibe.
Mm.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
reminds me of actually smoking weed, smoking weed and chilling, and maybe a bit grooving. Like
My Canadian roots,
yeah.
No, it's it's funny because I teach a lot. Like I teach a lot of businessmen and women, and my tone is naturally pretty like relaxed.
Mm.
But they think I'm like just like slowing down my voice for my students.
But it's normal,
like,
yeah.
This is just me, It's like, so, I guess naturally that's what it would be. Like music where people can chill, relax, and hopefully motivate them towards something.
But definitely, like in Hokkaido, like my mates on the rooftop having a barbecue, having a few drinks, listening to your music is really, really chill and
Right on.
really, really nice. So
Right on. Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I saw you were up on the rooftop about 2 hours ago, Shinya. Chillin'?
One of my share mates received a lot of squid and octopus from a friend.
Mm-hmm.
So we were casually barbecuing squid for about an hour.
And chilling to
Chilling
the vibes
too.
of Alan Demsky.
Well, you guys are honestly, Sapporo has by far the best food and quality of everything in Japan.
Agreed.
And
Not biased, but
yeah,
100%.
yeah, it's like really like I haven't had anything better. Like some of the best meals of my life are in Sapporo, Asahikawa.
Mm.
That whole region is incredible. So
what do you like the best?
there's this restaurant in Sapporo called Beast Kitchen.
Beast Kitchen.
Yeah, Beast Kitchen. Don't let the name fool you. It's fantastic, and they do a lot of really innovative, like Japanese kind of soul food, and like really, it's like, how do you say, like elevated like izakaya food. In
Okay.
some ways. So they'll have fresh like a shiitake mushroom, but it's like they serve it in a way where it's raw, like you can eat it raw, or they'll have like good venison and deer, and just like everything's like locally sourced. I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Okay, Beast Kitchen sounds good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They
In
have some,
the future.
and they have some stupid Nomi Hodai deal that makes no sense. You're just gonna get sick, and I don't recommend that. I don't know.
Don't worry, I've been to 4 to 5 hours Nomi Hodais before,
Yeah.
and I don't know how they make their money because you spend about 2,000, 2,500 yen for 4 to 5 hour Nomi Hodais, and of course, if foreigners go there, we would drink the whole bar till it's empty, So.
Yeah, David and you particularly had things to say about that on his episode.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
looking it up, Beast Kitchen here. Another local YouTuber does a program called Shun, and episode 7 is about 2-3 minute long feature on Beast Kitchen. I will see if we can actually maybe incorporate that to the edit of the podcast and promote another local artist here. So maybe you're going to be hearing about Shun from the Beast Kitchen from the Shun people right after this. Da-da-dum.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for that recommendation. It's really cool actually to have somebody that's not living here tell us like the things that they
Somewhere
remember
that we
best.
don't know either.
We don't know yet.
Yeah.
And like when this is all like ready to just go party again on the town, like all these places we want to go. Some exciting stuff.
There are so many in Hokkaido. Like I didn't even scratch the surface.
Okay, like dig deep. We're ready to go.
Yeah, I gotta break out like my list, and I'll send it to you guys.
Send it to us. We'll try and post it in the comments section. Like this is Alan's list of must-go places in Hokkaido.
I do have one list though for people in like Tokyo, kind of more like Tokyo, Yokohama area. But like I'd like to have one for like each city where it's like, yeah, this is where it's at, and you have to be kind of adventurous, you know. And yeah, the language barrier will be there, but it's okay.
No, I love that. We tried to set up something early on with the podcast, I think on our Facebook page, like one of those Google Maps where people could just pin their favorite restaurants in Hokkaido.
Oh, yeah.
So that should still be up and available if anybody's listening now and wants to go like, yeah, you got to try out this place anywhere in Hokkaido. Go pin it on the map. Just dig it up to the Facebook Anything Goes Hokkaido page. Should be there.
Also,
I love
the Jozanke area is really beautiful.
Yeah. Wonderful place for the onsen.
Yeah, really, really cool. So
wow, you really know the area. This is exciting.
This is one of my homes, so I'm gonna research the crap out of it and find out what's best, you know. And yeah, like I'm already like I haven't even planned to or bought a ticket yet for Sapporo. I'm already planning it in my head of like what I should do.
When was the last time you were here?
It was last year. It was actually for work.
Okay.
So so I teach I help like corporate clients and do like kind of coaching on like presentations and meetings and stuff. And I was actually invited to go to Hokkaido University and help the staff there.
Nice.
And it was on a weekend. It was on a Saturday. It was an intensive course on the Saturday, and my company was all right with me staying an extra day. It was fantastic. Like just
wonderful.
A weekend in Sapporo. Yeah, of course I'll do that, you know.
That's awesome. You were recently a guest on another of the Japan English speaking podcast, Japan What?
Yes.
And you talked mostly about your work, so it must be quite fascinating. I'm already going like, I want to talk to you personally, because I also do language coaching for hotel staff and other kinds of businesses. But what you do sounds even more fascinating.
Well, yeah, I think it's a lot of the stuff is the same. It's more like, you know, just helping people how to listen to people and just understanding that what you might think is polite or what you might think is correct might be a different definition in a different country in some ways, right? So not being afraid to interrupt and just like simple techniques like that, and how to be curious in other people and how to deliver and tell stories. So all these things, there's so many within the job, right? So
you say you work for a company. Is this a rather large one, or?
Yeah, pretty big. it has like it's like a really bad, terrible Pac-Man logo called Alk. You probably heard of it, but it's an ugly like Pac-Man logo. They really did an awful job with that.
How can it be ugly Pac-Man? It's just like a circle that's cut off, no?
Yeah. They ended up screwing that up. But I respect them a lot because they just a lot of really cool programs. And I think the big thing is, it sounds kind of weird, but if I do a bad job, they won't give me clients. And I kind of like that pressure because I want to know that there's like accountability in my job in some ways. So I just really like it. They understand that I tour for music. So I work hard for them and they respect my time off, which is great. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And I could be wrong, but it seems like that story is not that common when you're working with a Japanese company.
Even especially private teaching as well, that's exactly the same. It all goes down to ratings, and if your ratings are low, you won't just get as many students. So
this is something I learned early on when I came here and started teaching for a living as well. I remember talking with someone. I was like, why are students maybe like just quitting? It was not a lot of them, don't get me wrong. Just like if a student quit, I was from the American point of view, like, why didn't they tell me what I did wrong? Give me a chance to make it right. That's kind of, I think, common sense in the US, at least, maybe a lot of the West. But my husband said, why should they lose face and be uncomfortable to tell you that when they can just go find another teacher?
Yeah.
And that really stuck with me in a way of that's even kind of my style now. Like if I work with a musician, for example, who doesn't deliver, then if it comes down to a proper conversation, of course, I'd be happy to give them feedback. But due to the culture here, it's more like, thank you so much. Here's your pay, and I'm not ever asking you to play again. But I don't say that.
Yeah, I think that's where I don't know if I want that to be a part of me. So I'm always very like I teach a lot of feedback. We do a lot of feedback sessions and show them that giving constructive feedback is a positive thing, but you know, it's part of the culture I don't want to accept. And I think it's like I want to show them that I respect them, but can also tell them where I'm like, we don't agree, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's that form of the respect definition I like more. And instead of like, okay, I won't say anything and then
just cut relations.
Yeah, I don't want them to leave. I don't want them to continue like a path. Like I want them to think about that, you know? Maybe I'm wrong, you know?
No, actually, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling kind of the whole like, I need to head back that direction a bit more. And again, it really depends on the relationship. Like if you got a relationship that's worth salvaging, totally, even if it's a pain. Shinya, we've had a couple conversations where I probably threw some cold water on things.
But I do think, for example, if it's in a business sort of way, I mean, cutting it off is fine, but saying why is a good reason, I do think. For me, in certain situations, I can say, you're effing bad or something, or just, and of course with reason, of course. I'm just not saying like, you're shite and then just leaving, you know. But of course, having a reason why and helping them to improve in the future. Of course, they can accept it or they can refuse it, and that's their decision in a way, I guess.
I think it depends a lot on the attitude of the person. If you know that they're just not going to accept the critique, then sometimes, and that's kind of what I was talking about in a case where maybe they already had a reputation and it just wasn't worth damaging the good feeling we had going, just knowing it's better to look elsewhere. But I find here, like you said, your company won't give you clients unless you perform and do a good job. And so that's good sign of feedback.
Yeah, it is. Like there's a lot of that. And you know, it's funny because so my good friends in Toronto, they have a band called Fried Dough.
Fried Dough.
Yeah, which is like a, you know, it's like a sweet, tasty treat, but for music, right? And you know, I've helped them out, you know, with a tour in Japan and actually in Europe last year. So I was like their tour manager, which was a cool experience for me because, like, I can use this for the future. I can make
experience. Cool, it's a good experience. Yeah.
Good connections. I can save them for whenever I want to go touring, and I still have them. I'm good friends with a lot of people in Poland and Czechia and all that. But sitting down with them, you know, like we're in a bar in Prague or something, and they're talking about like the next release, and then the way they argue about each other and say, "Oh, your idea is so stupid," and it was so free. How they talked about it, I'm like, oh man, I need this.
But their connection is
right.
But I guess their relations are quite strong, so they can just say whatever they want, and they don't feel bad about it, So
Yeah, they're like, oh, you're effing stupid, like, blah, 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 this is why. And it was really refreshing to hear that again, because you're so far removed from it sometimes over here. And, I have a couple friends where I can do that. We can talk a lot of garbage to each other, which is fantastic. But for them, it was a different level. I was like, oh, yeah, this is like my home. Arguing over like sausage in some like small like pub or something.
Wow, that sounds incredible. Yeah, it just didn't even hit me until you started talking about it, how much I had assimilated that particular aspect of the Japanese culture. And,
I mean, you are pretty much Japanese now, Delena.
No. Okay,
Or you're at least half now.
But that's the thing, like, I will never be a hafu like you are, because I didn't grow up with that experience. I will never be Japanese because I don't look the part. So
but but of course personality is very different, and I do think personality wise maybe your personality is more Japanese compared to me. So even though I'm hafu, growing up in Australia,
I used to hear it all the time. Oh, Delena, you're more Japanese than Japanese. And I used to try so hard to be like Japanese and fit into the culture. And I recall really clearly one episode that made me kind of rethink that. It was back when Michael Jackson's This Is It came out in the theaters. And the place they were showing it, that I went to see it with my sister-in-law, was tiny, like one theater place. And so they didn't have a proper concession stand with fresh popcorn. And she had bought a bag of like that kind of stale popcorn. And I didn't open it in the beginning of the show because we weren't hungry. But halfway through, I was like, okay, I want to eat some popcorn. I couldn't fucking open the bag because I knew it was going to wrinkle and make noise and disturb the other people. And I went, okay, I'm taking this too far. And also, like, nobody was moving. I mean, this is Michael Jackson. You have to groove with it. And like, how do you not move your body while watching this movie? And I'm like sitting there like, can't help it. I'm a musician, but I feel awkward pressure. And my sister-in-law was kind of looking at me sideways, I think. And yeah, like I used to always be really careful not to play the music loud in my car. And if I'm in like a neighborhood or something, I turn it down. But otherwise, I'm like, blast it, sing it. Yeah. Like.
Oh, you just have to realize. You don't give a F.
Yeah.
Why are you like you're policing your language, and I didn't for the first time. That's probably the first F-bomb I've ever dropped on the show.
Okay. I'll swear, but if you swear first, then I'll swear.
Are we allowed?
I did.
I wasn't sure.
But it's always me. Yes. It's always me swearing first, so I feel bad.
I think
so if you swear first, I'm fine.
I did. I actually did just now. And it's your influence, totally.
It's funny. I went to a concert at Budokan in Tokyo. Tedeschi Trucks Band. Have you ever heard of them before? Oh. They're like kind of like they're from the States, and they're very like Americana, like that kind of southern psychedelic rock soul kind of thing. And I had these seats, and I was like, after the first song, I was literally crying because I hadn't heard this sound in years. Like it was like home to me, because I used to drive to the States all the time, go to festivals, all that. And I'm like, honestly, a mess in my seat, like crying like crazy. And then right beside me is this Japanese salaryman guy. And he's just like, oh yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Yes. I was like,
I've gotten that so many times. I've realized now that if you go to one of those concerts in Japan, you have to get a front row area where you stand, especially in Budokan, the standing area, because that's when all the people are jumping up and down and crying and dancing, and all the people up on the stage are just sitting down, and looks like they're just going to like some after work sort of meeting or something, and they're going to a concert. Yeah. I was thinking, what are you guys doing here?
But it's the same thing as the This Is It kind of concert. It's like people should be ripping their hair out right now and like like doing all this crazy stuff. And I was just like, oh my god, yeah, Yeah, it was insane.
Yeah, it's definitely a different experience here going to most shows. You know the band Mr. Big from
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
States? Like, of course, everybody knows, like, I'm the one who wants to be with you. Like, their number one song and a couple, like, Wild World. But otherwise, in the States, they really weren't that big of a hit compared to Japan, where they are huge. And I got really introduced to them through my husband and watching old videos. Like, you know, women would be topless in the audience here in Japan. Like, that level is rare, though.
Yeah.
And we went to see them when they did their reunion tour some years back, and they started here in Sapporo. And it was just like everybody seated and quiet and nobody going nuts. But I feel you on that front very much.
Yeah,
I would love to do shows like that.
Well, one music scene here that is quite crazy and amazing is I used to play a lot in the post-rock and hardcore scene.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and they're always a lot of fun, and they're all sweethearts. Like the bands I've played with, they're like screaming like this. But when you meet them, they're the
shyest, nicest people.
Yeah, they're amazing. I love them. So it was really cool, and those crowds are always a lot of fun and high energy. But it's respectful moshing at the same time, which is
yeah, respectful moshing. I love that. Wow,
it's
mosh
crazy.
pits in Japan.
And then compared to, for example, when I went to a concert in Australia, and it was like a back of the bar in a really small space, but it could fit about 400 people, I think, maybe 300, but maybe they managed to get like 400 people in. People were jumping on top of each other, spraying beer everywhere. Someone was drunk and climbed up onto the roof.
Yeah,
and
we're animals. We're all animals.
Yeah. Had to stop the band, and then he was like screaming, "I can't get down," and shit like this. And
hello.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
Wow.
There's a lot. There has to be quite a big Australian population in Sapporo, I would guess.
Niseko?
Or
Niseko, Kucham area.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of them actually make it to Sapporo, to be honest. They tend to stay.
It's just a Sapporo detour.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but at the moment, I don't think there's many. Of course, I think most of them went back home because of Corona. So, yeah. There's definitely a downturn in the foreign population all around.
Yeah.
And with tourism continuing to be like nil. Of course, right now they are doing like Go Japan. Is that the name of the promotion? Trying to encourage people to travel locally.
Yeah, it's just not.
It's still not good timing though.
It's just not good timing, and it's not that considerate of other countries too. You know, it's like I know they want New Zealand, like especially New Zealand or like Kiwis, you know, to come on over because there's 0 cases over there. But why would they want to ruin that? Take a risk.
Yeah, I heard some disturbing news just a couple days ago. Can't really verify it exactly, but I heard that a lot of the rural areas in Japan, people who think they might be sick with coronavirus actually travel out of their area to get tested because of the stigmatism associated with it so heavily. Yeah. And I do know of personal friends that have had some serious issues in their rural villages of having tested positive and then losing business, having to shut down business just because you're a relative, not even affected by it. So I can understand that, but it's also a little scary to think maybe Iwate actually isn't 0 or, you know, these different places.
That's the one thing. It's like, you know, if you look at the US is an interesting situation, but the one thing they're doing, and same in Canada, is they're doing a crap load of testing, you know? So, and same with like, you think of Taiwan and Korea, they did so much. Like I have really good friends in Korea right now. And yeah, just everywhere testing, but like, it would be good to know that there's more testing to have a better understanding of it. So
Yeah, for sure. So there's still a lot. And the thing is, we all have different opinions about what this situation
Totally.
is it or isn't. And it's not to say that we just don't know.
We have no idea.
We really
No.
don't. And small disclaimer here. In this show, we like to really say anything goes and not police our guests on their opinions or what they talk about or even their language. But our guests' opinions do not necessarily reflect that of Anything Goes Hokkaido or myself or Shinya. Nothing to do with you, actually. It was more like a recent anonymous tip about potential guests and things, and just going, you know what? Thank you for the information. I don't care. People can form their own opinions. Yeah, just to throw that out there. We respectfully reserve the right to let anyone we choose come on the show, and they're their own person. And for our listeners and viewers, you are your own person. Use that beautiful brain of yours to make your decisions about where you travel and what you eat, and which shows you go to, etc., etc.
Yeah.
That's actually, it's funny because I teach a lot of that in my classes as well. It's just like the idea of like respecting the disagreement and then listening to each other, and like that alone is so true. It's like more of that is definitely needed, like no matter what, it's no one knows what's going on, but respect, try to understand and grow from it,
Absolutely. Growth is really important for all of us.
Yeah.
And I feel like part of doing this project with this show, it's been really cool to learn from people and, have different points of view. So it's really exciting to see where we go from here. And for all of those people out there listening and watching us, we appreciate your patronage, just being a part of the community. That was a big part of my vision for this program. Is everybody knows Hokkaido has the best food and the best nature, and it's just cool in both meanings of the word. And the thing is, the community and the people that come here, like yourself, even if it's just for a short time on tour or work, and the community here is just really incredible, and we just want to showcase more and more of that. And when it's safe to do so, I also really want to go on location and show more of the nature and the food, and meet people a little further afield, or that are not necessarily tech savvy enough to come on in this manner.
I think it's really important. It's really great because I think sometimes, being in Tokyo for so long, it's so refreshing to go outside of it and realize, there's so much more going on, and it's much chiller. Like, people are like very tense sometimes here, as you can probably imagine.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like stepping out and going to Sapporo and connecting, going to Kochi, and I've been to most of Japan, and it's good. It's a good reminder that not everyone in Japan's like Tokyo.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think people who come here get this image, like the place where they lived or they visited is how it is everywhere in Japan, because we think of Japan as being a small country, but it's actually quite large. And if you look back at the history, like the Sengoku Jidai, there were all these different countries. And that's why if you go to somewhere like Aomori, you probably won't understand what they're saying at all, because the language background is so completely different. And, just you have to explore Japan yourself and see how many incredible places there are. But Hokkaido is the best in many ways.
Well, you have that, what is that? Is it like Melon Kuma or something? Melon Bear?
The mascot.
The mascot? Yeah.
The
So I
super
love...
scary mascot.
So I love...
What's the super scary mascot?
You know, the bear with the melon head, like all the veins on it, it's like green and...
Marimokkori?
No, that's just kind of gross, but...
I don't know. Wait.
The
I think I know.
mascot.
The melon
No.
mascot.
The melon bear mascot. Like, we
The
have
only
to look up
mascot I know
pockets.
is, do you know Marimokkori, right?
Yeah.
He's the green one, and he's like in a green, uniform costume, but he has a bulge in his pants.
Which
That's
is
very
what
funny.
Mokkori means.
Yep.
And so it's a wordplay on marimo and
Yeah.
mokkori.
Yeah.
Did you ever see in Otaru there is a bear that has like a skeisuke bear, I think, and it has a tissue in its hand, which just has like so many implications. There are some gross mascots here.
Good old Japan.
So that's
But the melon bear.
I have a lot of pictures of me with mascots. Like, I love taking pictures of mascots. I think it's just hilarious. Like, just the sheer creation of how they can come up with all these incredible incredible ideas, right? But like,
yeah, really
creative.
Here, I've just pulled up some melon bear pictures. I'm going to share the screen real quick, and you can see with us live.
Very popular.
Okay, can you see that?
Yeah. Well, I've never seen this before.
You've never seen this? I
That's
have seen
scary.
it live. It's scary, and he'll actually like bite your head. Like
I should wear this for Halloween.
that actually would be a really good Halloween costume.
Well, the cute one, that little
Meron-kuma.
stuffed toy.
Yeah.
This one's cute. This one here. But yeah, I mean, look at this. Looks like straight out of a horror movie. I mean, poor kids. I've seen kids crying when they see this mascot.
Definitely. It's not a surprise. Yeah.
Well, there's quite a few of those things in Japan like that. And in Akita, there's the namahage, where their job is just to scare the crap out of you.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, Japan is just famous for mascots, for companies, for areas. Yeah.
Yeah. They come up with, just like every village or city has to have their own specialty, be it food or something, usually food. Here, I'll share the screen for the namahage as well, real quick, so our viewers can check that out. Of course, we're seeing ourselves for a moment. Here we go. This is the more traditional than the Meron-kuma, which is quite recent. This namahage oni, maybe?
Oni, yeah.
Yeah. So there.
I mean, you see a lot of these masks actually if you go to Otaru and you go to the mountain. I forgot what the mountain's called. Delena, help me out.
I don't know. I'm the first.
It's like
I'm not aware of what you're talking about.
It's like the famous mountain in Otaru, Ten Nanayama. And then if you go to the top, they have like a little museum and they have all these Oni masks and Hanya masks, for example. So,
Okay.
Tenguyama, yeah.
Tenguyama. I have never been there. That's why I didn't have a clue what you were talking about.
20 years in Hokkaido.
Almost 20
You
years.
guys should do a location podcast.
That is absolutely like the beginning vision of this whole
Already
thing.
thinking about
Coronavirus
that
is
from
like-
the start, but
Yeah, for part of my motivation for starting it too is all of my work filming for the airport and tourism videos, of course, got completely canceled.
Mhm.
And I wanted to continue that and have an outlet for future jobs that actually pay. But yeah, I think sooner than later, perhaps we could make some excursions like that. And I've been taking video of different parks and places and trying to edit those into our Instagram account or put them into the videos. Like, had a nice little excerpt on Lake Shikotsu a little while back. Shinya, when you go camping, can you take some video for us?
yeah, of course.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
And anyone else
actually,
listening?
I'm change of plans, but we are going to Shakotan.
No way.
So Shakotan's very beautiful. Very. What?
I know.
Wait, you've been to so many places, but you haven't been to like the
I've only been
places
to
where
the
normal
places,
people go.
I've only been to the places I've been paid to go doing the filming for Have Fun in Hokkaido.
Wow.
That was the thing, like, because, yeah, I'm not really in a position to just take off and travel on my own easily. If it's not for work, I don't get to, like, just go off and do things. So, yeah, that was the hugest blessing to be able to see so much of Japan in the last couple of years through that work. But,
Have you guys been in the Wakanai area?
yes.
I haven't. Yeah.
So
Well,
that,
that's understandable. It's far.
that area is I don't know, I've never been there, but I really want to go because I grew up in like the little Moscow of Toronto area. And I think it's fascinating to see the Japanese-Russian like kind of connection there. I think that's just so interesting because it's very different than Russian Canadians, you know.
Yeah, I was really intrigued by Wakkanai as well. Also, just because the name is kind of fun.
Yeah.
But I got to go to Wakkanai and the Shiri-Reibun Islands last summer with Have Fun in Hokkaido, and it was incredible. I really, really recommend people try to visit there if they can afford the time. But it is the furthest most point of Hokkaido / Japan. So it does take some time and a little bit of funds because you need to take a ferry or like a small flight into the island airports to get there. But it's beautiful, the best food ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Really awesome. But yeah, Shakotan, I think I have some video that somebody sent in. I might even put into this episode, if not a sooner one. Really
I
gorgeous
recommend
blue.
kaisendon or uni, sea urchin. when
Sea
you
urchin. And kaisendon is what? For our
seafood bowl,
Japanese
is that what it's
rice?
called?
Yeah, it's like
Seafood bowl.
sashimi on top of rice.
Yeah.
Many kinds.
So last time I went there, I had a raw octopus, raw crab, and a sea urchin on some rice. Beautiful.
Sounds amazing.
Yes.
Can I come
Anyway-
with you, Shinja?
With your
Go
own
to
car,
Shakotan.
yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Well, you're
Alright.
lending me the tent, so
Right.
I can't stop you.
Well, that's true. Well, maybe
Yeah,
my kids and I will pile in and join you.
It's gonna be 5 people in a 4-man tent. Cozy.
I don't know if it's a 4-man tent. It's big.
Oh, really? Okay.
It looks really big. I tried to set it up the other night with some lighting in my yard, and
But
I
it's-
went.
So it's actually like a
two-person.
4. It's actually a 4 adult tent.
How do you? Well, I guess
That's
you
not
actually.
bad with kids. That's not bad, you know.
The
kids
kids only
are
take
like
up
that.
one adult space.
4
We'll have to-
adults. Is it Western size?
Yeah, I think that would kind of defeat the point of social distancing with the camping scenario, though. So, anyway, but I do want to go to Shakotan badly.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
Anyways.
just have to get another tent.
Yeah.
Anybody want to lend us a tent?
Wrapping up to the hour mark, Alan, is there anything else that you would like to talk about on the show?
Yeah, everything's great. Just support, local music and local cafes and all the places you love. Just, help them out and help each other, I guess. That's the main thing. That's
Yeah.
Love it.
And where can we find you?
Yeah, so if you go to whoisdemsky.com, and that's my new website. Yeah, DEMSKY, and everything's there. All my shows, all my streams, and everything like that. It's all streams now, which is fine. And and there I'll put up, all the releases that I'll have coming up in the future.
That's awesome.
Sure.
Great.
Whoisdemsky.com. All right, folks, that's wrapping up another episode of Anything Goes Hokkaido. We're so happy you joined us, and we would love your feedback. You don't have to be silent and cut contact with us if you don't like something that happened in a show. Please let us know. We appreciate it. We want to grow in our production and content quality all the time, but anything goes, and I think it's better to do something than be silent. So please hit us up with an email at anythinggoeshokkaido@gmail.com if you have questions, would like to be on the show. Also, you can get us on social media, just like Alan did. Hoo-hoo. Find us on
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram at Anything Goes Hokkaido. And we'd love to have guests. And we would really, really love for people who are here locally to send us your pictures, videos if you go somewhere, if you eat something really good, or if you meet somebody really cool. We're happy to edit that into the video and feature you that way. It doesn't have to be a big production. Okay, guys, we really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you
Stuck
very
it.
much, guys. Goodbye.
Take care.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening and watching this episode of Anything Goes Hokkaido video and audio podcast. We've had a few glitches in the production lately, and so this episode was edited on my computer, not my iPhone. It's a new thing for us. Hope you liked it. Love your feedback. Please become a patron and support us in this endeavor, and keep on rocking on. Anything Goes Hokkaido. Love you all, and stay in touch and keep cool in this summer heat. またしたけ